What's going on, everybody? Shane here. Something a little new. We're doing a live Q&A. It already ended the session. A little table of contents of what to expect. We're going to be talking about the combat mindset. We're going to be talking about spotting criminals, out on the streets, your everyday life. We're going to be talking about recognizing survival signals and being able to immediately enter into that combat mindset so you're ready to go from 0 to 100 real quick, and then other ways to win fights. Okay. Couple excerpts that we're going to be looking at today is from a book called Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. And I recommend that everyone read this book and recommend it to everyone that they know that they care about. I'm not making any money from this. I actually didn't even provide a link. So this is just a book that I've read multiple times, and I recommend that everyone reads it because it's a great way. And we're going to talk a lot about what's in that book. He talks about Gavin de Becker. We'll talk a little bit about him too. But he talks about ways to just recognize when someone is up to no good, trusting your gut instinct, your intuition, which some people don't believe in. They don't think it's real. However, he backs it up. I was a little skeptical at first, but he backs it up, and it makes a lot of sense. All right. Thank you guys for coming in. I'm going to read the chat real quick, see who's in here, who showed up. So let me see. You got Max, Luke, Mama Bird, Just Jock, Tyler, 5 Mad Radishes. Cool. Let me see a couple questions before we get started. I want to see what you guys are asking. Shane, you should do a fight-like video about Bruce Lee. I think it would be awesome. I think a lot of people have been asking that. I think that would be a great video. I got to get a Bruce Lee outfit. I got to get that yellow one from Game of Death. What's going on, guys? Mr. Motivation, Carl. How's everyone doing? Thank you guys for coming in. Like I said, we're going to be doing a Q&A the entire time. I'll spend more time later on at the end, but there is a couple things I would like to talk. Some important stuff, some serious stuff. I don't want to get, too serious on you guys, but it's stuff that's going to help you in your everyday life when you probably least expect it. And some of the stuff that you think, I'll never need this. Well, then take the information in and share it with your little sister or little brother or girlfriend or mother or anyone in your life that you care about, because this is all very, very important stuff, valuable information. All right, cool. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is we're talking about trusting your gut instinct. And this is the first thing that Gavin de Becker talks about in the book, Gift of Fear. I guess let's back up a little bit and talk about who Gavin de Becker is. So what are his credentials? Because when you're reading this book and this guy's telling you how to live your life and how to spot criminals before you become a victim and how to enter that combat mindset and all this stuff, it's like, well, who is this guy? He has worked for the United States government for a long time. He's opened up his own security specialties agency, which works for government's large corporations and other public figures. He's worked with celebrities to help them find people who are stalking them, or if they've lost people, he helps track them down. So he is the real deal as far as I know. And doing a little research that I did about him, and this book, it's got solid information. You can't deny that. So like I said, the first thing that we're going to talk about is trusting your gut instinct and intuition. And as guys, as men, we don't really like that word intuition because it almost sounds like, I don't know, like a like a hair commercial or something like that. But you have to understand that these feelings that you get if you're out on the street and you get that sinking feeling in your stomach, you feel like something bad's about to go down, there is reason for it. You may not be able to back it up by logic in that time, in that moment, because you probably are. You have that adrenaline rush and you're kind of overwhelmed by emotion. But when you look back on it, you'll realize that all of that made sense. And the reason why you had that panic feeling is because you noticed something subconsciously. Now I'm kind of talking vague here. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. So an example that he uses in the book is a guy was in a supermarket or a convenience store, and he walked in, and he said right away he's been in this convenience store, but he said something felt wrong, and I don't know what it was. So I walked in there. I had to get some milk, but I decided not to get it. I turned around, I walked out. When I got home, I turned the news on, and some guy got shot in the face with a shotgun in that place, in that same exact store that I was about 10 minutes ago, and I was there about 12 minutes ago, so I missed it by 2 minutes. And he's like, and I don't know what it was. It just, for some reason, I don't know why, I just felt like I should leave. And there's a lot of times we've been there in that situation. We say things like, I don't know how I know, but I just did. You know, I don't know how I know it. Something just told me in the back of my mind. You hear these expressions used a lot, and you actually do know why. If you actually dissect it and you go back and you look at it, the example of this, he picked the guy's brain a little bit and he said, well, tell me about what you remember when you walked in there. And he's like, oh, well, I walked in, and usually the guy behind the counter is, you know, he's looking at everyone because he's paranoid and he thinks everyone's stealing from his shop. And I noticed he didn't even look at me when I walked in. He was staring at someone else. So right away, there's an indicator. He's staring at someone, and this guy's feeling the same thing too. This guy, there's something about this guy that I don't trust, that I don't like. And then he said, the next thing that I noticed is this guy had a really big jacket on, one of those really puffy jackets on, but it was in the middle of July. So why would this guy be wearing a really puffy jacket if it's 90 degrees outside? There's another indicator, something wrong, something just doesn't fit. And then the third one, he said, I remember going in there, and right before I walked in, there was a car full of guys right outside the place with the car running. And then it's like, well, okay, maybe he went in there with his friends, and he had to go grab something real quick. But with all of these together, and you may not consciously in that much after the fact, and your body subconsciously recognized these things, you were able to put two and two together and get out of there and avoid it. What happened was the guy went in there to rob the place. He had this big puffy jacket on because he had a sawed-off shotgun in there. And then the other guy, the guy running the place behind the register, recognized that why is this guy wearing a puffy jacket, right? Same thing. The guy held the place up and shot the guy behind the register, robbed the place, but that could have been the other guy that was in there. You got to trust your gut instinct, stuff like that. Has anyone ever felt, or has anyone even recognized this kind of stuff before? Trusting your gut instinct or intuition? I'd like to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this. We're going to talk a lot more about this, but it's some crazy stuff. And until you kind of like hear the idea of it, it may not have even crossed your mind. Frankie says, Shane, smile. I am smiling. I'm always smiling. Let me see a couple of these questions coming in. People don't got guns in my country. Well, that's nice. We're going to talk about other things as well besides guns, but Shane, has anyone ever pulled a knife on you? Yes. Yes, I've actually been hit with the butt end of a knife before. Cool. All right, so someone said, Shane, I don't have guns in my country, or gun laws are strict in my country, and that's not anything I have to worry about. Well, let me give you another example that was also used in the book, and this more so pertains to, no, you know what, I was going to say women, but not even necessarily, but let's use a woman in this example. So talked about intuition, trusting your gut instinct, seeing things subconsciously, not recognizing it maybe right away consciously, but after the fact, but it helps you avoid a situation. So let's say you're a woman, or your mother or someone like is in an office building, up in the elevator, and there's a really shady looking guy in there, right? Picture the worst criminal of your life, right? Maybe he's even got a mask on, okay? Really shady looking dude, and you just get that sinking feeling in your stomach, and you're like, you know what? I feel like I should avoid this. I should not get into this confined metal box where I could potentially be in here for about 30 seconds with some complete random stranger. Or maybe you're not even a woman, right? Maybe you're just a regular guy, but you see that the guy's got a knife or something on him, or a bottle in his hand, anything, a brick in his hand, right? There are many times where you feel these indicators, right? Something's not right. This guy is unstable. This guy could be a potential threat to me. And instead of letting the doors close on his face, instead of doing that, you're afraid you're going to hurt their feelings, and you'll go in and you'll put yourself in a really risky situation, like being confined in a metal box, which is an elevator, right? There's a lot of times where you actually worry about hurting some stranger's feelings. A lot of people, you've probably been here before and never realized it. Trying to think of an example of this. You got to understand that there are bad people out there, right? I mean, we just got that comment right now. Someone said, yeah, but we don't have guns in our country. Yeah, but just because there's no guns doesn't mean there's no bad people. We're going to talk a little bit about paranoia too, and how you should avoid just absolutely, you don't want to create problems if they're not already there. You don't want to go out looking for bad people, on the same note. Okay, that's going to be a little bit later on, but I just want you guys to recognize that that's also very important. All right, no failing is too unsubstantiated. Don't think about who did this, but who could have done it. So that's in the situation where, let's say you're getting threatening emails or calls from an anonymous person. You don't know who it is. You want who it is. And like I said, your gut instinct may not always be backed by logic. So what that means is you may think it could be someone. It may be someone, the first person you're like, I couldn't be them. I couldn't be them. Why would they do something like that? Usually it's the person where you're like, I feel like it could be this person, but I don't want to believe that it is. It usually is that person. You know, when you look back on it, I forget what the example was in the book, but it was something like that. You keep thinking about the person that most likely is it. You keep giving yourself reasons why it wasn't. But just think about who it could have been. All right. All right. So another thing to consider is some people may be skeptical of this. Some people may say, there's no real way. If you look at like the bomber, the Boston Marathon bomber, or you look at just recently in San Bernardino, the shooting there, the mass shooting, or anything really, Columbine, right? You think about all of these things and you're like, there's no way that you could have really predicted this happening and stopped it before it happened. I think that's a lazy belief to have, because consider this: you got people who study human behavior. You have we study the way that consumers will react to an advertisement, you know, on an ad. Study how people are going to react to that, right? There's study groups. Also, the other one that is used as an example in the book is you're driving 65 miles an hour on the highway, and then you have to merge while you're driving, you know, this multi-ton piece of metal, and there's other ones whizzing by you, and you'll look in the rearview mirror and you'll see someone give you like a little head nod or a little wave, and you trust this random person behind this machine that could potentially kill you, that they're gonna let you come in and merge in without no trouble there. So it's like, you know, you're gonna trust things like that, but then you're not gonna trust yourself when you feel like something wrong is happening. You're gonna create more problems for yourself by thinking, no, I'm being paranoid. I'm being crazy here by thinking that. That's not fair to yourself. That's not fair to yourself, especially if something were to happen. All right. Someone said, what book is that? We're talking about The Gift of Fear. It's in the description to this video. Monster Hunter. Cool. Someone said, what if you're scared to hurt someone? That's a great question. Great question. So we talked about just now being scared of hurting someone's feelings, hurting a potential criminal's feelings, some random stranger, because we don't want to let the elevator doors shut in their face. And someone said, well, what if I'm afraid of hurting someone? It's a great question, but it's very different, right? You're not going to be like, this is a shady looking guy in the elevator. I'm going to run in and just start punching him. Because you also don't want to create problems. Unkempt and didn't shave that day and look like some crazy guy, when in reality he's just he's late for work, you know. So you don't want to create any problems. But if you're in an actual fight with someone, they're trying to hurt you. We talked about this recently in my Thursday video. Someone said we talked about being passive in fights and talked about legal rights and self-defense laws. And the question now that we're answering is, what if I don't want to hurt someone that I'm fighting? Restraints are great. Restraints are great. But also, if someone's trying to harm you to the point where they're trying to kill you, that shouldn't be a worry in your mind. You shouldn't worry about, oh man, am I really going to hurt this person? Right? Am I going to break this person's jaw? Am I going to break this person's nose? Am I going to split their eyebrow open? You shouldn't have to worry about that. If they're trying to take your life, then you do everything in your power to stop them. Now, what I imagine you meant is, what if I'm in a school fight and I really don't want to hurt this guy too bad, that I'm fighting because I don't want to get kicked out of school, or I don't want to get arrested just in case something awful were to happen. That's why jiu-jitsu is great. Jiu-jitsu is great for street fights. And there's a lot of people who say, no, it's not. Well, you don't jiu-jitsu, right? You learn how to avoid takedowns if he's a wrestler. And then if you can get him into a some sort of submission, a rear naked choke, and you don't even have to apply it, but get your arm under his chin, lock it up tight, maybe not tight to the point where he's going to pass out, but you can make him verbally tap. You'd say, are you done? If I stand you up, are you going to hit me again? Because otherwise I'm just going to choke you out again. Instill a little fear into them. So that's a great way to, with that, you're not actually hurting them, right? You're restraining them, you're scaring them, but you're not actually physically hurting them. Going to the body is another one that's great. Knees, kicks, punches to the body is another safe way to go. It's a great question. Someone said, is a drop kick ever effective? Yeah, I mean, you gotta, I guess so, but you gotta remember that you're gonna be on your butt afterwards. So if you miss, or if you do land it and knock them back a couple of feet, you're gonna be in a bad position afterwards. Can wrestling work the same? Yeah, I mean, if you pin someone, that's great, and ground control is great in wrestling, so absolutely. You could even get them in a half or full Nelson or something like that, as long as you're dominant enough in your wrestling. Let's see. There's a lot of questions on here, guys. It's moving quick. I'm sorry if I missed your stuff. Someone said, what's your opinion on carrying guns? Sorry, I got to scroll back up. What's your opinion on carrying guns for self-defense and even killing in general? Wow. Well, I hope to never have to even be in that position that I have to kill someone. I don't think anyone really wants to be in that position. That's a big question. I'm very into self-defense. I believe very much in self-defense, and it's pretty much like I said before. If someone's trying to kill me, let's say someone's got a gun to my chest, to my head, or even to my wife's head, or my mom or dad or my brothers, right? They're holding a gun to them. If I get a hold of that gun and I get in possession of that gun and they're still fighting, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to stop them. I'm going to stop them. And if I can stop them without using the gun, it's going to be a lot easier on me, on my conscience. It's going to be a lot easier legally and in court. I'm going to do that. But let's say we're scuffling or we're rolling around and we're both fighting for the gun, and it's either him or me. Come on now. Why would anyone hesitate there? Carrying guns. I don't own a gun, but I am going to. Probably by next week I will have one, and for home defense. I honestly don't know yet. I still need to. I've been thinking about it for a couple weeks to about a month now about carrying guns. Laws are very strict in California, but I don't think that I ever would. I don't think, because I mean, I'm comfortable enough with my hands and self-defense to not use a firearm. So I don't think I ever actually would. But if someone were to break into my house, there's no rules there. They kind of have an advantage being, let's say they wake me up out of a sound sleep. I want to be ready to go with no hesitation, and I want an even playing field. So it's a great question. How about you guys? What are your feeling on gun laws and owning a gun and carrying a gun? I'm curious what you guys believe and feel. Tyler says, Shane, I want to start boxing, but parents are scared. Tyler, look up one of my videos. Just type in, my parents won't let me do MMA, and just show them that video. I made that video for that reason alone, and I'll convince them for you. Would Krav Maga be most effective for the street? I say everything is most effective for the street. Doing a little bit of everything, doing what works for you. Sorry, who asked this question? Raphael? I lost it. The question was, is Krav Maga most effective for the street? I say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, boxing, which is pretty much MMA. If you go to an MMA gym, you're going to learn all of that. That's most effective for a street fight. Incorporate some Krav Maga, incorporate some Taekwondo, because none of those besides Krav Maga teach you weapon defense. You need to learn that somehow. So whether it's Krav Maga or Kali, which is like the Filipino arts, you're gonna need to learn that too, because knives, guns, you need to learn how to defend against them. So I wouldn't say strict just Krav Maga, because the striking isn't the best in Krav Maga. Muay Thai is a lot better, and there's very little grappling as well. So you need to be well-rounded. Velvet says, what if you're a girl and you think you're too weak? I'd say you start training. You start training, you know, MMA. You start training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. You start hitting weights. And I know many girls don't want to get big. They're like, I don't want to look muscular. And you see these women that are bodybuilders. You're not going to get that big unless you are lifting, you know, every single day, heavy weights, eating 2,000 calories at least every day. And a lot of these women also are on steroids too. So you're going to look toned. If you start lifting weights, you're going to get stronger and you're going to tone up. You're going to love the way you look, most likely, but you'll get stronger. Also, you got to believe in yourself too. I remember my wife, Marie, and I, we did a video and she talked about how a lot of women and girls comment on my videos and say, it'll be how to defend against a punch, right? And someone a girl will comment and say, Shane, great video, but how should a girl do it? And Marie doesn't like these questions because she's like, why would it be any different? You guys do the exact same thing, right? Guys maybe have a bigger skeletal structure, a little bit more mass to them, a little bit more stronger than girls, but you still, everything that I teach in my videos is the same thing for girls, right? And I talk about it all the time that everyone's skin is soft, right? Especially right here at the eyebrow and at the cheek, and everyone's elbow is hard, right? So as a girl, it doesn't matter if you're strong or weak. If you go like this, and it doesn't even have to be much harder than that, at the same time that a head is moving this way, and you smash your elbow into someone's eyebrow or cheek, and then the blood starts trickling into their eye, and then they lose their vision, and you can smash your elbow into their other eye, and then they can't see, you know, at all at that point. Then you start going for dirty fighting. Then you start going for kicks to the groin or strikes to the throat. So it doesn't matter how strong you are. Really, as a fighter, it doesn't matter how strong you are. All right. So some people are talking about knives and owning guns. So I'm going to read a couple of these. So Melvin says, I think owning a gun and carrying a gun is fine. I'm on the fence about concealed carrying. Ninja Pulu says, should I carry a knife for self-defense? That's another good question. And this is, guys, some of these questions too, understand that my advice or what I would do isn't necessarily what you would do. I used to carry a knife. I used to carry a knife for years. Very comfortable with it. It was a Smith & Wesson, spring-loaded, which are actually illegal to carry, but it was the kind where you just can flick it open and it shoots open real quick. And it made a very sexy noise when you did that, right? And there was one time, and it was after that day that I much. Before even verbally trying to defuse the situation, I pulled the knife out to intimidate because I had no intention to use it. I really don't think I ever could, especially against an unarmed opponent. Guy was starting to fight with my friend, and then I was like, yo, buddy, you know, calm down. No one needs to fight here. And he looked at me and he said, oh, what, you want some too? And I just pulled it out like that. And luckily, he did exactly what I wanted him to do is, oh, you got a knife, you're a pussy, turned around and walked away, right? And I was like, okay, great. Avoided the fight, scared him with it. If he had came closer to me, I would have to put it away, put it back in my pocket, and then get into a fight stance because I never would have stabbed. But that's, like I said, I forget who asked this question, but should you carry a knife in self-defense? Would you actually ever stab someone and then have to deal with the legal repercussions? I wouldn't want to, right? Because even if you were defending yourself, it's going to look really bad in court if you had a knife and he didn't, right? Especially if you accidentally kill this guy. So I stopped carrying it because I relied on it too much. I don't want to have to. If I'm in a situation where someone else pulls a knife on me and now I don't have my knife, that's on me. You know, I'm comfortable enough now that I can grab a chair next to me or something else nearby or use a jacket to defend myself. To me, it's worth it. To me, it is. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. So this is stuff, guys, I want you to pay attention to this because I want you to share this with people, friends and people. For the stuff you can, that's awesome. Store it up here. That's great too. So we're going to talk about some indicators of bad people up to no good. So this is like spotting criminals, you know, before you fall victim. So this is mostly for women. It really is. It's gonna happen for younger people as well, males, but mostly for male attackers, male criminals trying to prey on women. You'll see what I mean after I talk about the first one. So what was that movie that came out? It was Mark Wahlberg. I don't know if anyone will remember. Mark Wahlberg, and I forget who else is in it, but his daughter dies in the beginning. And it's like narrated by her, and they're looking for her body or for her. I forget what it's called, but there's actually a lot of signs in that movie that really show, because the daughter is raped and killed by an older guy, and there's actually a lot of indicators, especially after I tell them to you now, that you'll see she should have known. If she was knowledgeable to the fact of this. Come on, Ivan. What were you expecting, brother? He said, damn, this is boring. This is self-defense stuff, man. This is the important stuff. All right. Anyway, if she had known these indicators prior to, she could have avoided it, and she could have, yes, the lovely bones. Thank you, Angelo. And bear sticks. She would have still been alive. And I don't want you guys to ever fall victim, and I don't want anyone in your family to ever fall victim. So these are a couple things to recognize that someone else may say to you, and it's like, okay, I need to get the hell out of here. All right, so I'm going to answer your questions in a little bit, guys. So let's keep going with this. So is forced teaming? This is when a person implies that he has something in common with his chosen victim, acting as if they have a shared predicament when that isn't really true, speaking in we terms, using the word we. We don't need to talk outside. Let's go in, like that kind of thing. And I use that verbatim from Wikipedia in case anyone tries to say I'm plagiarizing. Kenny Florian. So using the words we, if some random stranger starts saying, yeah, we should do this, or we got to go inside, I don't know you, dude. Right away, be like, who the hell are you? I don't know you. And a lot of people will feel bad in this situation. A lot of people will be like, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings. You seem like a nice person. They already see us as a team. When in reality, it's like, who are you? I don't even know who you are, right? And you watch that movie, The Lovely Bones, and at the very end of the movie, he tries it on another girl about the same age, maybe a little bit older, and he says something like that, like, let me give you a ride home. We don't want you to get too cold, or something like that. And the girl's like, who the hell are you weirdo? You know, very different from what the girl in the beginning of the film says, which she kind of freezes up, and she feels like she's hurting the guy's feelings by saying, no, get them in niceness. If someone's being too polite, too friendly, it's kind of weird, right? Disarming their mistrust. Other one is too many details. If a person is lying, they will add excessive details to make themselves sound more credible to their chosen victim. Now, this is just people in general. A lot of people will use too many details when they're lying, and you'll notice if you let a person keep talking, if you feel like they're lying, you let a person keep talking, they'll talk themselves into a corner. All right, and then you'll obviously be able to tell they're lying. That's something that you can tell with anybody. Loan sharking. This one is very important. Giving unsolicited help to the chosen victim and anticipating that they feel obligated to extend some reciprocal openness in return. What does that mean? That's like if you're struggling to carry bags into your house, right? You went food shopping, you got groceries. Someone walks up and is like, oh, let me help you with that. They help you carry it to the front door, and then they're like, I helped you, now you owe me. I don't owe you anything. I didn't ask for your help. That kind of thing. All right, so I'm getting some questions here. Someone says, if a girl decides to attack you, do you fight back? Christian, I did a video on that. As well. Understand that restraints are the best, like I said before. There is no law that says you can't hit a woman, at least in the United States. It's just that you can defend yourself. If a girl's attacking you, you can use the same amount of force that she's using against you to defend yourself. Okay, so for instance, if she slaps you, you can't pull out a gun and shoot her, because that's excessive, right? It has to be proportionate. So you can defend yourself and stop her, but to the point where you stop her from doing what she's doing. All right, let me see a couple other questions. Someone says, do you think jiu-jitsu is practical on the street when the floor isn't padded? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you get someone in a rear naked choke and you're on the ground, I mean, of course they can if you have them in an arm bar, they can slam your head on the concrete. That's a variable. That's why street fighting is different than any other caged or competition fighting, but it's still absolutely practical. All right, guys, we're gonna talk about one more thing, and then we'll just do strict Q&A for about a couple minutes, and then we're out of here. If anyone discounts the word no, if you say no once and they go, ah, no, nonsense. Think about it. If everyone's ever, let's say you offer something to someone and they say no, would you be persistent and keep pushing forward? No, right away when they say no, to like a straight no, I'm not sure. If they say no, I'm not into that, I don't want to do that, I'm not comfortable doing that, you wouldn't keep pushing forward. You'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine then. When you think about these people out there, these criminals, these rapists who discount the word no, that's an indicator right there. And if you say no and they keep pushing for it, you should be able to switch over. You can be polite at first, and I said no, absolutely no. What's your problem? Why you keep pushing? You got to be safe. You got to be safe. I know you don't want to hurt people's feelings. I'm a good guy too, but you got to be safe. All right. Let's answer a couple questions here. Let me see. Any questions on that? I definitely recommend you guys read that book and your friends read it as well. Very important stuff. Cool. Shadow says more live streams. My man, thank you. Hey Shane, my shin hurts when I run. What should I do to improve my running? From Crazy Maniac. Sounds like shin splints, brother. You want to ice, rest. You want to massage them. You want to stretch them. But mostly you just got to rest. I did a video on that as well. Type in fightTIPS shin splints, SPLINTS. All right, someone saying it's laggy. I'm sorry about that, guys. Not what fighting style you would recommend. X. I'm tall, strong, and not very agile. Do a martial art that isn't fun for you, you'll never be able to enter that flow state. You'll be forced to do it. It's like going to school and learning a subject that you don't want to learn. So whatever is most important to you, whatever you think seems interesting. But there's a lot of tall Muay Thai guys that are great in the clinch, so you might be able to do that. Have a strong clinch, throw knees all day, break people down with those. Wrestling, if you feel like you could use your leverage, use your height to your advantage, although usually the shorter, stockier guys are better because they can get underneath of you a little quicker since you're not very agile. Maybe want to try Muay Thai and see how that works. Kelvin says, what are your thoughts on death? What do you mean by that, Kelvin? Elliot B says, do I need to get fit before I start boxing? Boxing will get you fit. I think you should just go for jogs leading up to it, maybe a little shadow boxing, but no, it will get you fit. All right, what are your thoughts on Sage Northcutt? I think he's a talented young kid, but was he hyped up? Yeah, absolutely. So I lost his fight. He just didn't have enough experience. They put him in there often. He was fighting a lot. Do I think he's done completely? No, I hope not. I don't wish that on anybody, but he just needs more practice. Jordan, great question. How to avoid freezing up during a fight? And this is something that I wanted to talk about as well, entering that combat mindset. So this really comes down to right now. This is when you start practicing it, Jordan. You don't practice it when someone's in your face screaming at you or when someone's punching you, because if you didn't practice for it, it's like trying to do a speech on classical music. If you don't know the history behind it, if you didn't study it, how are you going to do a speech on it, right? It's the same way with fighting. If you didn't practice for it and you didn't practice the mental stages as well, you didn't do your sparring, to just turn it on and just do something that you've never done before is challenging. So you have to promise yourself right now in this moment, that everyone should do this as well, that if anyone touches you in a street fight, there's going to be no hesitation. No hesitation. If someone ever throws a punch at you or touches you and they're trying to physically harm you, you're going to turn it on like this and you're going to defend yourself by any means necessary. Okay. Now, make that promise to yourself now. Remind yourself of this promise every once in a while. So when it happens and you feel that hesitation come on and you freeze up a little bit, you made that promise to yourself. Don't feel regret. You don't want to feel that feeling of regret in an hour after the fight, because you're going to hate yourself because you got beat up and because you broke your promise. Other things that you can do, things that I've recommended before, is sparring. Not only sparring, and maybe you don't belong to a gym, but have some friends and put your money together and invest in boxing gloves, mouthpiece, headgear, spar with your friends. You know, I mean, this is something that we used to do. It's a little dangerous, but maybe you could ask an older sibling or even one of your parents to watch you, make sure everything's safe, right? Um, and also leading into these sparring matches too, a great way to prepare for that is shadow boxing, but also mental shadow boxing, which is imagining your bully or just a potential opponent coming up to you screaming in your face. And they're screaming in your face in the middle of a classroom, and there's all your friends are around watching, and they're cheering you on, and everyone's got their phones recording it, which is a scary thing to think about. You got your big bully in your face, but do this in shadow boxing. You do this in really visualize, you know, imagine the noises, imagine your heart beating, and imagine what your first move is going to be, or what his first move is going to be, and how you're going to counter it. But it's never going to be hesitation. You're never going to hesitate. So if this ever were to actually happen in real life, you've been here, practiced it, and you know how to handle yourself. So I hope that answers your question, Jordan. Let me see. Mr. Motivation says, very similar question. How do you stop your body from getting shaky in a fight? Mr. Motivation, ready? I still get shaky during my fights. Faraz Sahabi, who's George St. Pierre's trainer, GSP's trainer, said that before his fights. So just embrace it. When you start feeling those shakes, go, oh. All right, I'm going to do a couple more questions, guys, and then I'm out of here. We back, we live. Sorry about that, guys. I just answered Keanu's question too, and then I saw him say, Shane never answered my question. Let me scroll back up. Keanu, why don't you write that out again? All right. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I think I should be back. I don't know what happened there. So Shane never answered my. All right, we are back. We're online. Awesome. All right, LeVar, fist bump. You got it, brother, man. All right. Let's see. Questions. We're gonna do a couple more. Opinion on vegetarian, vegan diets. Ewan. My wife's vegetarian as of like 3 months ago, and she feels great. She's still plenty of protein in her diet, eggs and fish. So I vegetarian or vegan. Sometimes I'll do like a couple of days out of the week where I'll do vegetarian, but I'll still always do fish or eggs. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably not the one to ask about that. I think it's fine if you do it and you feel good and your body appreciates it, then that's great. Crapped out again, didn't we? We're still live. You guys still hear me? Yeah, I'm still here. All right, let's see. Preem says, "Yo, Shane, whose side are you on, Meek or Drake?" God, I really don't follow. Meek Mill's from Philadelphia, right? I think I remember that name, but I really could care less. Sorry. All right. Jazar talked about the combat mindset. We did talk about that. What are your questions exactly on that, the combat mindset? Ruari says, ever go on PKA again? I did not, but I would love to go back on. That was a great time. How do you make an omelet? I actually have a video on me making omelets. It's like the cutting weight video. Some recipes on there. I made an omelet. Are push-ups used for fighting? Says Saish Reddy. Let's see. You're doing this movement, which is very similar to this movement, right? You can do explosive clap push-ups, which is going to help with acceleration, just like when you're throwing punches. It's going to work your chest, your shoulders, which helps keep your hands up in a fight. It's going to work your forearms. It's going to work your back. Absolutely. Shadowboxing's even better. Sparring's even better than that. That's an interesting question. Andy Orr says, when is an appropriate time to apologize to avoid a street fight, and does that make you look weak? No, I do it all the time. But I think what's really important is you could probably speak in another language to someone and it really wouldn't make a difference. The important part is how you're conveying it, how you're saying it. Because what I like doing, I've been in these situations before, and if someone's in my face screaming, telling me why they want to fight me for whatever reason, who cares? Doesn't even matter. They're screaming in my face. They're telling me that they want to fight. And I'll go, look, dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you feel this way and I don't want to fight you, which is very different than, look, dude, I'm sorry. I don't know why you feel this way and I don't want to fight you. Look them directly in the eyes. Be super confident, right? Inch a little bit closer to them to where you're still in a safe range, but just radiate confidence, which is much different than being hesitant and avoiding eye contact and looking scared. Triple G or Canelo? Man, I've been thinking about this a lot, and lately I'm thinking Triple G. I love both of them. And I feel crazy saying it because Canelo's fought better guys than Triple G has, but I think it's going to be, I think it would go to decision. But I think Triple G would take the win, but I'm not too super confident in that prediction. Keanu says, what do you do to get a six-pack? What should you eat? Was that your original question? I don't remember. Six-pack, I have a video on crunches. So many people say you shouldn't do crunches, they're bad for your back. That's what I do, and I got a six-pack doing crunches, and you can't have any fat over your stomach. Everyone has abdominal muscles. You just can't have the fat which covers them and doesn't show them. So stop eating carbs after 7 o'clock is a great way. Make sure you're doing your cardio and going for runs, protein, mixed greens, leafy greens, yeah, do your crunches, leg lifts. I keep seeing from Velvet, what do you think about age? What do you mean exactly by that? Shane, if I didn't eat before my fight, will it help me or no? You probably won't have energy. Kickbox. You'll need that. You need the calories or energy. That's what calories are, right? So you need to be able to, your body needs to be able to burn it off to do. Your body needs calories to make your fingernails grow, to make your hair grow, to make your heart beat, to make you walk, to make you do push-ups, to make you lift weights. All of that requires calories. If you don't have that energy, that fuel, that gasoline for the body, then you're not gonna have energy. Now you don't want to eat right before. You don't want to eat 30 minutes before. I would say 45 minutes. But I was actually thinking about doing a video on the best things to eat right before a fight. Let me know if you guys be interested in that. Should you throw a punch in a classroom, Mr. Motivation? What do you think? You know, I mean, it's if someone tackles you and they're hitting you, then yeah, you got to fight back. But if you can avoid the fight, if you can walk out of the classroom, if you can sit down, if you can call a teacher to come in, it's much better. Who are you going for, Conor McGregor or Rafael dos Anjos, RDA? It's hard to pick against RDA. Rafael dos Anjos is so well-rounded. He doesn't show any weaknesses in his game. Dismantles his opponents like Cerrone and Anthony Pettis. McGregor believes in himself. He's a great fighter. It's going to be a good match. But if I had to pick, I'd probably say RDA. All right, let's do 3 more questions and then I'm out of here. All right, guys. All right. Jorge says, "Do you smoke weed?" No, but I won't count that one. But I've been asked that question my whole life growing up. It's my lazy eyelids, and the dreads don't help. All right, I'm gonna pick 3 more. 3 more. Man, everyone's commenting now. Okay, here's an interesting one. Charles Sacramento says, "Shane, what do you think about vigilante work, like patrolling the streets, looking if anyone is in trouble, sort of like Batman? And have you heard of Phoenix Jones?" I assumed you were talking about Phoenix Jones. He does this. Here are my thoughts on Phoenix Jones. I like the idea of helping people out, stopping crime. However, watching some of the videos that I saw, he sort of looks for fights. You know, he wants those views. He wants the publicity. He wants to make it onto the news. He wants to make it big in his MMA career now as he's an MMA fighter. And I feel he focuses too much on actually looking for fights than he does stopping crime. And pretty much what this whole stream was about today is, as long as you have the knowledge, you can avoid the fight. You can avoid being a victim. And I think it's more important to share this type of information than it is to try to be one person and patrol a huge, huge city and just go out and try to get views for a video. So I appreciate that he's trying to do good. I just don't know that that he's going about it the right way. And I'm sorry if you disagree and you're a big Phoenix Jones fan. All right, let me see. 2 more. We'll do 2 more. Ashley Flores says, "How do I fight a girl that is so skinny, and how do I avoid it if she is annoying?" What I believe, and I stress it a lot because of what I just talked about in a previous video, is you shouldn't be fighting over if someone's annoying you. You shouldn't be fighting out of emotion if someone's making fun of you. The repercussions, getting kicked out of school, getting a fine, going to jail, getting killed, just because someone's annoying you, none of these are worth it, right? So be the bigger person. It is harder for you to just ignore them, roll with the punches, but that's what you need to do. Patience, rolling with the punches, and forgiveness are what wins fights. It really is. Now, if this girl is skinny and attacks you, then I'd say throw her to the ground. Grab your hand around her waist, lock your hands up, thumbs together. Start getting in the habit of doing this, putting your thumbs together right at your index finger and going like this. All right, grabbing underneath the thumb. A lot of people I tell to do this, and then they go like this, and they put their thumbs here. Your thumbs connect here. Turn this one in, cross your hands, and grab here. This is the tightest grip that you can have. It's called the gable grip. If you can grab someone low around the waist, just above their butt, you put your head into their stomach and just turn them as you bring them down to the ground. There you go. How to deal with an angry drunk bully. That's tough. That's very tough. I'd say avoid them. Avoid them, because people don't want to be reasoned with when they're drunk. You still can, but very tough situation. All right, let's do one more. Real quick one. Is dodging headbutts possible, Shane? Stay out of range. It's super close range, so if you stay out of range, you'll be good. Keep your chin tucked. Also, if they swing their head back, keep your chin tucked so that they hit the top part of your head, not the soft part of your face. They'll do more damage to themselves. Finding rhythm in boxing, just practice your shadow boxing especially. It's in your knees. I promise, it's in your knees and in your toes. And then start loosening up the upper body. All right, one more. Here we go. Wait, I got a question for you guys. Would you want to do this again? Would you want to do a Q&A session live like this again? Let me know. Trying to look for a good one here, one that everyone will benefit from. It's a good question. I think we have to do another one just because there's so many questions in here that I'm missing. I'm getting a lot of yeses, so that's nice. All right, here's a quick one. Now let's do this. Okay, how do I deal with, this is a very serious one, so we're going to end on this one. How do I deal with suicidal thoughts and depression? Okay, now this is one that I'm probably not the best person to talk to. I recommend talking to your parents or to a doctor about this. But what I always say is, it's pretty much what I said before. You got to roll with the punches. Life isn't easy, but you can make life awesome. There's so much out there, traveling wise. There's so many places that you'd want to visit. So instead of being sad or even considering taking your life, I would say go out and travel to these places. Even if you're young, understand that if you wait a little bit longer, life gets better. It really does. And there's some awesome people out there that you have yet to meet. There's some awesome places that you have yet to see. Martial arts is a beautiful thing and puts you in a great state of mind. So definitely try to check out martial arts, even if you just train from watching videos online. That'll make you feel good. That'll get the endorphins flowing. Exercise is great to get the endorphins going. Endorphins are the things that make you feel good in your brain. So do a lot of that stuff. Work out a lot. Understand that there's so much out there, and you'd be doing yourself a disservice by ending it any sooner than naturally. And roll with the punches. Roll with the punches. Life is good. I promise. I wake up every morning and I tell myself how appreciative I am. I love it. I'm in love. I have the best wife I could ever ask for. I got the best job I could ever ask for. I got all the underdogs here asking me awesome questions and hanging out with me. Life is good. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Thank you guys for coming in. I'm still getting a ton of questions. Guys, remember you can ask me questions on Twitter too. Follow me on Twitter. fightTIPS is my handle. Let's see if I can do a quick screen share here. Yeah, here we go. So guys, if you aren't already following me on Twitter, please do so. I'm getting text from Ant right now. Follow me on Twitter right here. And here's me on there. Because I got 600,000 followers on YouTube. And I only got 10 on here. What's up with that? Cool. All right, guys, thanks for coming in. I'm out of here. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Train hard, train smart. And Tuesday's video should be good. Thursday, we got a lot of big things coming out. A lot of big things. Working with Bellator now officially. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see my commercial on TV? I was in a Dave & Buster's commercial for Bellator and Spike TV. Officially made it onto TV. Big things. fightTIPS is getting big, guys. Next level stuff. All right. I appreciate it. I really do. You guys are awesome. The toughest fans in the world. the underdogs. I love you guys. Take care. See you soon.